What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar for today, what pieces of data are coming out, so what you should be watching for. I'm also going to break down what the news is saying and what's going on with the FOMC meeting for today, and what you should be anticipating in the stock market price action. But before I begin to delve all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market so far. Looking at SPY, things currently up about 0.07%, kind of flat right now. One thing you'll notice is that we're treating this 20 EMA on the 4-hour time frame as support, this 416.4 area. And we have this resistance that's a little bit close to this like 419 area for the pre-market. So these are some ranges right now. And the market is kind of green. Tesla's up 1.42%, continuing to try to bounce. NEO is up. You can see SoFi is up. Many stocks are trying to hold up. The QQQ is up. Nvda is very flat, despite the fact that, and AMD is actually pretty flat too. That's despite how things were looking yesterday. We're still actually turning flat, and there's not a whole lot going on right now. So, what's going on with the market? What's going on with the news, and etc. As a reminder, today we had CVS's earnings that came out, and PayPal's has their earnings alongside Roku after the market closes. Now, when it comes to earnings so far, CVS ended up beating on EPS and revenue, and their guidance was very mixed. We had weak guidance from Norwegian Cruise Line, and they had mixed earnings. Not the worst, however, and then Wayfair was also kind of mixed for now. So overall, most of these are either mixed or beats. Not the worst so far. Guidance has been kind of like mixed. So we're going to be watching this very carefully, especially for PayPal and Roku. Now, when it comes to other pieces of news affecting the markets, I just want to call out that 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI coming out. Expect some volatility 15 minutes and 30 minutes after market open, as we also have the JOLTS job openings, the ISM manufacturing PMI, construction spending, and the JOLTS job quits all coming out after that. And finally, after all this data comes out for the first 30 minutes, we just have some crude oil data after that, and there's going to be nothing else. All we have will be the next Fed interest rate hike decision. So during the interest rate hike decision, the Fed is going to announce what their projections are for the next rate hikes, and also what they're going to be doing during this cycle. Is the Fed going to raise rates more? Is the Fed going to end up trying to pause? We're going to find out at 2 p.m. And after that at 2:30 p.m., right? This is going to be a separate event. We have the press conference, which is going to come afterwards. And that's when Jerome Powell is going to give a speech. For the things affecting the markets, October was a bit scary for the bulls because we saw the market fall for the third straight month. And it's very unlikely that we're going to see a fourth straight red month. It's more probable that we're going to see a bounce or at least a green month for November, because November has historically been a very strong month for the markets. It's one of the strongest months of the year. So we're going to be watching this very carefully as we're entering this big phase. Now, normally markets don't care much about the Treasury Department's routine, but during normal times when the bonds and the stock market are very volatile, it's going to be important to pay attention to both. So right now, we're going to be listening to what the Fed has to say. We're going to be looking at what Jerome Powell says for today. And it's going to have a big effect on yields. It's going to have a big effect on the next monetary policy changes. And it's going to be very important that we watch this because we're going to find out what the Fed is about to be doing. Now, we also have the Treasury Department making a refunding announcement at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's actually happening right now, but it's not really affecting the market that much. The Fed is going to be the bigger effect at 2 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. JetBlue Airways saw the stock sink more than 10% to a 12-year low, and this happened as they forecast a fourth quarter loss, unfortunately. And things like this happen. It's not entirely their fault. Macroeconomic factors are getting in the way. Declining Bud Light sales are hitting the world's biggest brewer. You can see that other companies are expected to beat for the third quarter, but revenue has fallen and guidance was not the strongest. And that's pretty much it for now when it comes to news affecting the markets. Now, looking at the fear and greed index, we're still on fearful mode. We'll see if this shifts or not. And now it's all up to Jerome Powell and the FOMC to cause a much bigger move. So what do I think is going to happen in the beginning? Well, we're going to be looking at these ranges on SPY and all these different charts. Basically, when you look at the daily chart, I just want to focus on the much bigger time frames. On the much bigger time frame, if we get a bullish outcome for today, 420 plus is a possibility on SPY. If we're really bearish, do not forget about this gap down here. We have a gap all the way down on SPY near 410. So both of those are possible. Right now, expect some high volatility for the first 15 and 30 minutes as we're going to be reacting to all this data. So we're going to see reactions to the manufacturing data and the job openings data. So if SPY turns bullish, watch 419 and then 420. If we're bearish, we're going to be watching these supports right here, 418, 417.5, 417 flats, then we have 416.5 below that. And if we lose that, 415 is a real possibility. So watch for volatility when we start off. We're looking a bit more bullish right now. It could be an attempt to go a little higher, but then don't forget that after the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, expect the market to turn very boring. Wherever we are, it's going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and do nothing really fun after the first hour. And this is what tends to happen when we approach the 2 o'clock p.m. rate hike decision. So the market might just go back and forth and do nothing too fun. And then we're going to be watching for a big reaction as soon as we get the rate hike decision. All right, that's what tends to happen historically during these events. Might be very boring until we approach the FOMC. Tesla is showing some life. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, it's getting a really nice bounce here off the bullish divergence. It held above its weekly 200 EMA, and now it looks like it's trying to fill this imbalance right here, so there could be a bit more upside coming. Tesla looks bullish from a technical standpoint now that we closed above 200. We're going to be looking to see if Tesla could try to get up to 209 around there towards this imbalance and come back down. So we might see a little pop in the morning, then some downside. Watch resistance right now at 205, and then we have 209 above that. For support, we're going to be watching 204, 202.5, 200, and 198 as some supports. My guts tells me Tesla's going to try to go a little higher, and then we're going to be watching for some sideways choppy price action, and then look for big volatility once the rate hike decision comes out at 2 p.m. The headlines are going to be very huge, and also what the Fed projects for the future of the rate hike too. For Aapl, it's very sideways right now. We're going to be watching 171 as resistance, and then for support, we have 169.8, and then below that we have 169.5, 169, 168 below that. I think it's just going to trade sideways for the majority of the day, so it might come down a bit towards 169.8, bounce right back up, and just continue to trade sideways. It looks very stationary, going back and forth between supply and demand in the pre-market, so it might just trade sideways for today. Then we're going to be watching for a big reaction after the rate hike decision comes out. On the 4-hour time frame, Nvda is just very flat as well. Now we have a possible inverse head and shoulders forming right here. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, when we look at the daily on Nvda, you're going to find that this thing looks like it's trying to base, but there isn't confirmation yet, so just be open-minded. So we have a possible inverse head and shoulders that could be developing on the stock. So that means that we might see Nvda decline a little bit towards 400, then bounce back and just trade sideways for another day or so. And then if we end up getting a breakout thanks to the Fed or something, we could see this thing try to get back to about 420. So we have a possible inverse head and shoulders developing on Nvda. We're going to be watching these levels very, very carefully. All right, guys, so that's it for now. I just wanted to call out that the VIX is a little bit down as we have a head and shoulders, and this is supporting some more upside for the markets if this continues. And there's no sign of a bounce just yet. We're going to be watching to see how the Fed affects this. So make sure you're calm, cool, and collected, and you watch these levels carefully. And with that said, guys, get ready for FOMC. It's going to be very important. It's going to be very telling. And we will see what Jerome Powell ends up bringing. All right? So expect some volatility for the first 15 and 30 minutes. Anticipate some sideways price action after that. And then we will see what the big reaction is to the rate hike decision and the Fed press conference. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Have a good one. I'll see you guys very soon, and peace out.